5 interesting facts from the ATPL subject, Principles of Flight. Let's go! Fact number 1. Stability versus maneuverability. An aircraft needs an acceptable minimum of stability in order to stay controllable, but of course it also needs a minimum of maneuverability. Both of these things are controlled by the center of gravity position. The further forward the center of gravity, the more stable the aircraft will be, and the further aft, the more maneuverable. So it's always a balance between the two, which is why every aircraft has an acceptable range of CG positions published by the manufacturer, in order to ensure that you always have the required stability and maneuverability. Fact number 2. Critical engines. Did you know that some aircraft have what is called a critical engine, or potentially even more than one? It's the engine that would, in the case of a failure, affect handling and performance of the aircraft most adversely. So in the case of an aircraft with 2 right-hand propellers, so clockwise turning propellers, it would be the left engine, since the asymmetric blade effect means that the right engine has a longer arm to the center of gravity and would thus on its own create more yawing moment. In case of 2 outward rotating propellers, both engines would be considered critical, whereas counterclockwise inward rotating propellers and turbojet and turbofan engines in general are considered not to have a critical engine. Fact number 3. The speed of sound. Do you know that in an ideal gas, the local speed of sound depends only on one factor? And do you know which one it is? If so, leave a comment down below now. And congratulations to you if you said temperature, because that is actually the correct answer. At 20 degrees Celsius, the local speed of sound is around 1,235 kilometers an hour or 667 knots. And that is the case no matter where you are in the atmosphere, as long as you have 20 degrees ambient temperature. Fact number 4. Coffin corner. Coffin corner is the name of a region in the flight envelope that you definitely don't want to end up in. It's the region where the stall speed is very close or ultimately equal to the critical Mach number. And flying below the stall speed obviously causes the aircraft to stall, so you ultimately are losing lift and altitude, whereas flying above the critical Mach number causes shock waves and flow separation, once again leading to a loss of lift. And it can even make the aircraft pitch down and make it completely uncontrollable. So I think the coffin part of the name is fairly obvious, and it's called a corner because it's the top corner of a typical flight envelope chart. Fact number 5. Counter versus contra rotating propellers. When I first saw a question that was asking something about contra rotating propellers, I thought it was a simple typo. Everybody of course knows counter-rotating props on a multi-engine aeroplane. That's nothing special, but contra-rotating props also exist and they're much less common. It's actually when you have 2 propellers on the same shaft counter-rotating and even being driven by the same engine. So it really is something completely different, and it is very uncommon, but it still exists and we still learned about it in Principles of Flight. And that's it for today, 5 interesting facts from Principles of Flight. I hope you enjoyed and learned something new. If you did, consider subscribing and leave a like, I really do appreciate it. If you have any questions, as always, leave a comment or send me a message on Instagram, Facebook, wherever you can find me. Thank you very much for watching, see you next time.